All right, well, today we are working on upgrading and outfitting my 30 by 50 home workshop here. Now, we just finished pretty much overhauling the entire inside of this place. We added lofts, we took that opportunity to rearrange everything, new toolbox, new tools, new equipment, new workbenches. Everything is different in the place. It is in a much better spot than it ever was before, but there is still a bit of unfinished business that's really just kind of been lingering and kept us from utilizing the space to its fullest. In particular, this loft here. Now, this is what I was really most excited for when it came to building out these lofts, because this is set up to be kind of a dual purpose hangout area, sim racing setup, but also small parts storage. Plan is to split it off to where we have all the wiring stuff here and all the AN stuff here so that we can better organize what's in here, because at the moment it's pretty jam-packed and it's pretty hard to really actually see what you got and what you're working with, which is important because we've just started our first major build with the new and improved shop setup. And I mean, I've got to say, so far it has been amazing. I mean, not in my wildest dreams could I imagine having this organized and efficient of a shop space. I'm so happy with it, but we got to get that last little bit, you know? So basically, the idea was to be able to build AN lines and do wiring stuff up here on this workbench. But at the moment, it's not really a great place to work because, as you can see, we don't have any air conditioning up here. Now, the shop itself is air conditioned. We have two of these Mr. Cool 36,000 BTU mini splits, and they keep it icy in here. I mean, I'm talking probably 70, 72 degrees down there right now, and it's amazing. It's great. Couldn't ask for better. But as you can see, it's mounted below the loft height. So basically, this is where all the hot air is. Now, fortunately, with the spray foam insulation, it's not like an attic up here or anything. It's definitely tolerable, but there's not really a huge desire to work up here, let alone actually make use of the hangout area and hang out up here when it's 15, 20 degrees cooler down there. So this space has gone pretty much unused, which just eats at me because, you know, again, I was really excited to set this space up and use it, and we kind of need the space now to keep things organized, keep projects rolling, all of that. So anyway, that being said, our first order of business is to set up an AC system up here that will not only cool this area, but should also cool the storage loft over there. You know, not for anything else, but giving us a nice place to chill and kick back when we need to take a break from wrenching. So that being said, I'm really eager to get into this. We've got a Mr. Cool 12,000 BTU mini split setup for the loft, so it's gonna have its own dedicated AC, so we don't have to AC it when we're not up there, but we can keep it nice and cold up there when we are. We've got a bunch of other stuff in to upgrade not only the loft, but also the main floor area as well. And this is like that final little bit to get this place really signed, sealed, stamped, delivered, done, dusted, dialed. So I should probably quit jibber jabbering and we should get to work. Let's get to it. Put the old fact. Wow, dude, that's why I didn't rush it. All right, well, it's time to mount the AC. We have to mount the head unit, and then we have to mount the condenser. Now, we had a bit of a plan, but that plan is probably not gonna work because, let me show you. We had initially intended on mounting the inside unit on this wall here. Problem is, it'd be right up against this shelf, and it'd be pretty low, even if we tucked it all the way up against the ceiling, which makes it hard for it to get air. So instead, we'd like to mount it on this back wall, because since we have the roof pitch, we can mount it up high and still have the right amount above it for it to draw in air. It's kind of a better spot too to fill this whole area. Since we're gonna mount the inside unit there, that kind of changes our plan on mounting the outside unit, because we have to run lines from it to wherever we put that outside unit, which we already didn't have a spot we were in love with. for the outside unit, even if we were putting it on that wall, but then now it becomes even more complicated. Let me show you. So we plan to concrete under this, give ourselves a concrete pad. We would also like to concrete this area for parking the bus and the trailer at some point. So this outside unit's, we're gonna have to move it or something. If we do concrete this area, while we concrete it, put it back, it's gonna get a little tricky. And that other one, you know, if we put it here, gotta keep it 12 inches off the wall, then we're in the way of parking the trailer. If we put it anywhere further up, if we put it back around the corner of the back wall here, then it's gonna be in the way when it comes time to concrete this. Plus pulling cars in and out, it's just in a danger zone. So what we're gonna do is put it up on the lean-to roof. People commonly mount them on the wall, but this being a metal building, any vibration is gonna rattle the walls and be annoying. If we put it on the roof, it gives it kind of that second layer of isolation, and it's right by where the head unit's gonna be. So it keeps all of that plumbing of those lines tucked up out of the way. Keeps them away from rodents and all this other stuff. So that's what we're gonna do. The only downside is this roof has a pitch, so we can't just mount it flat up there because then it won't be at the right angle. So we need to, I'm gonna build a little frame that will basically give us mounting points for it where it ties into the studs, and also is a nice frame for it to sit level on. So I'm gonna work on that. Josue's working on, basically we gotta take a piece of plywood to mount our bracket to for the head unit to then tie it into the building studs. So anyway, we've got a plan. We've got our assignments. So it's time to get to work. I think I have just enough leftover aluminum to make this frame. So just can't make any mistakes on the cuts. So let's get to it. So this bracket on a normal day when I was planning to do this, you know, if I bought material ahead of time for this project, would be pretty easy, pretty straightforward, not a big deal. But since we're using all scrap pieces, it's not so much that we don't have enough. Like if we combine all the scraps we have plenty, but it's the piece length. For the width mainly, we didn't really have pieces long enough that were the length I would want. So we're gonna have to get a little creative as we make it. It's like it's right on the borderline of being the dimensions that we need. So we've kind of got to cheat it in any way we can. So like putting the legs on, I put them offset a little bit to the outside. So they're kind of overhanging just a little bit, just trying to get that little bit more width because we need these to land on the studs. If they don't land on the studs, it's pointless. You know, we need the studs to be supporting the weight of this thing and keep it nice and secured. So you can see the difference in the height of the legs, and that should get us level. Based on my math and the roof pitch measurements, should, keyword, should. Now also with the plates, welding the feet on to the legs, I did it with the angle built in. So there's effectively a gap at the back on the short legs and at the front on the longer legs. And that's on purpose because if we had welded them flush with the bottom of those legs, you know, square, when you went to put it on the roof, because the roof's at an angle and it's at an angle, they would have to bend down to make contact. And we don't want that. We want a nice clean, solid contact patch to keep this thing from vibrating and rattling. So fortunately, we didn't make any mistakes on the cut that we know of. You know, we didn't have to redo a piece, which is good because we couldn't. We had no option to redo the piece. So now it's time to drill our holes through, which, as you can see, we got to put them all the way on the outside to make sure we get good contact with the wood studs. Ideally, the screws will go right down the center of the studs. So while I was busy finishing that up, Josue started working on mounting the plate for our inside unit. Now, one of the things here is with this spray foam, it's 3 inches thick, but there's some spots where it's thicker. There's always kind of a high spot where you've got to shave it down if you want something flat to fit there. So that's always the downside to mounting stuff in here, is you generally got to shave some foam. But he got it pretty much ready to go, and I got ready to mount my bracket and hope it all works out. So, and just over 3/4. I ain't going nowhere, dude. That thing is like super stout. Like, it's solid. Like, it doesn't even budge with me on it.
I'm saying, it's like yours, like, I ain't seen it on them, but a little bigger than
Yeah. I weigh probably like at least 4 times what that thing weighs. And it doesn't even flex with me. Nice. I would be curious, can you bring...
level?
Yeah, I just want to check. It looks right, but I'm curious. It's in the lines. I mean, it's within the level of the level being... No, it's dead nuts, dude. It's perfect. I was on some junk. But, like, if I put it... Oh, yeah, dude, it's on the money. It literally could not get any more level than that. That's a good feeling. All right. And it ain't going nowhere. Sweet. Step 1 done. I know, it's kind of gross. Sweet. All right, well, we got our outside bracket ready to go. We've got our inside bracket mounted up. We just got to blast this hole for the lines and wiring and everything, and then we can hang up our inside unit. Anyway, basically, we've got to drill a big hole in the shop. It's unfortunate. And then basically put this through with the wiring, and then the lines, which are under here, we have to straighten out and pop through. So anyway, yeah, let's get to it. One of those things. That's satisfying.
Oh yeah.
You want to keep that as a memento souvenir. Sunlight. You did it.
Is it there?
It's not on the ridge. Good job, Josue. When I say we tried, I meant Josue.
And when I say I tried, that was honestly the first spot.
Yeah, the ridge is right below. Oh yeah, it's almost perfectly in between the two. You see my wonderful new neighborhood edition? Very excited about that.
Saw the truck.
Yeah, very
pulled out right behind me.
Very exciting.
I see that.
And a razor knife. Or those gold scissors. Take your time. I'm just holding it in place while you casually walk away. Yep. Like a short little. Here, all right. I'll do it.
I don't know what you want, dude.
I don't know what I want either.
I need to take the Silverator.
Okay. Where are you going?
Down the road.
Oh, the paint place?
Nice. Oh, the street races.
I mean, hey.
I was betting my rent on it.
Well, if that's the case, you might want to let me play with the tune-up before you go. After having hung both the much larger 36,000 BTU units in the lower part of the shop, I was very grateful that we went with the small 12,000 BTU for this one, because this thing was a lot easier to wrangle up in place. It's always a bit tricky to get the lines through and get it nice and snug on the bracket, but after some finagling, we got it. That's it. Yeah, that's it. It's in. Oh, show. Head unit installed. Let's us go. Time to put the condenser on. Now, we are going to have rubber feet between the condenser and the bracket that we made where it bolts on, but having the night to think about it, I realized that I wanted to put some rubber washers between the bracket and the roof just to minimize any vibration transfer into the building and minimize noise. All right. All right, we're up. I got it.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
I ain't going nowhere. Got some nice jiggle to it with the isolation. Dialed. Alright, outside unit on. You can see our lines there. So those will run down and over into this side right here. Boom. Nice out of the way, accessible. So one of the things I was dreading the most about this project was the wiring. Now, I already had wires pre-routed over here through the conduit to the box, ready to go. However, I intended on, where we were going to mount it, it would just have to kind of pop out of the wall right here and go right over to it. So the wiring was going to be the easy part. Now, with our new condenser location, fortunately, the lines and the wiring between it and the inside unit are much easier, but the wiring to it becomes much more complicated. We got a lot larger of a run to make. However, we can take advantage of that and route some other wires to do some lights and some other outlets and such up there on the loft. So we got flex conduit routed to a box, and then we're trying to get this hard conduit up there. It's a little tricky because the loft is really tight to the wall, so we had to notch the wood and get creative, but we were able to get some half-inch hard conduit up there and start setting up our boxes, which I had an original plan for, but after kind of seeing it come to life, I wasn't really a fan of that plan. So I came up with a different plan and much nicer, neater routing. And now we need to get up onto the rafters because we want to add some more lights up here for when we're hanging out, some warm, less aggressive lighting, but we don't have any power going to that side of the loft. So we got to make this piece of conduit with a double bend in it. And, it's a little tricky to get these right. It's a lot of commitment. And unfortunately, I missed the mark a little bit. I didn't account enough for the shrinkage, so we're about 2 inches shy on each angle, each bend. Now, the question is, do we take the easy way out, cut it, union it, or do we redo it, try to get it right the second time? Really. I mean, we could go to 58.5 instead of 58.3. So we decided to give it another shot. I mean, we had enough conduit to do it, so took the measurements, measured twice, bend once, and hopefully we got it right this time. Oh, money in the bank, son.
First try.
Definitely, first try. What do you mean, just kidding? What are you kidding about? I'm glad we redid it. It was worth wasting those bins that we can use somewhere else.
Yeah. Totally worth it, for sure. Nice.
All right. Well, we missed it on the first one, but we nailed it on the second one. You can see we're nice and level here, and then let's see if I can get you up there. Follows the beam perfectly. Very pleased with that. Now I'm sure someone's gonna be like, "That's not regulation height for a light switch." I know. I'm sure it's not, but it needs to be above the toolbox. Toolbox goes here. it is what it is. It's just gonna have a light switch here, not an outlet. And then we'll have a 1 outlet plug here. And then over here, this is just a box. It'll have just a lid on it. And then we'll have liquid tight conduit that will go out and then to our condenser outside. So I would like to maybe change the feed up down there, not being flexible, but it bothers me after doing hard conduit to run anything flexible when you don't absolutely have to. But when we did have to get around the post, but probably address that at a later date. For now, it gets us power up here. That's all we need. That's all we need. All right, well, I lied. We're not pulling wire through just yet. As much as I'm eager to, so we can get everything hooked up, I gotta redo this. This is bothering me. Me and Josue came to the unanimous decision last night that neither of us can live with this shankiness. I don't mind it back there because it's well secured and it's tucked away and protected because there's a lot going on over here and it has to be flexed to get around that post. But here, A, it's just unsightly and kind of jank. B, though, it is, I think it's a safety hazard. Something could catch on this and yeet it off the wall, and I don't want to deal with that. Now, we could do like a track and mount it to the track, but might as well just hard conduit. We have this leftover piece from our first attempt at that complex double bend up top, and it happens to be the perfect size. So we're basically going to terminate the flex into a box there, and then hard conduit from there to here. And then we're hard conduit all the way up. So then we can start pulling wire, which again, real eager to do, so we can try out the AC. So I should probably quit jibber jabbering so I can get this done so we can start pulling wire through, yada yada. Let's get to work. Cut. Call the press. Whatever the Grinch says. It's so funny to me when I think back to the old building we had here, and whenever I would wire something up in there, I would never even consider, getting hard conduit and having to bend it and route it and secure it, and then still have to run, pull wire through and all of that. Oh, why would I do all that extra work when I can just buy this pre-made thing, clamp it on, and I'm done? But now I can't stand using the pre-made stuff. I love doing the conduit, and I mean, part of that is the reality that it is more work in the short term, but if we need to add anything else wiring wise, we have the option to route it through this conduit. Usually we're not maxing these pieces of conduit out with how much wire they can take. So while we spend a little more time in the short term, in the long run, we have that flexibility and that infrastructure in place to add more things down the line without having to basically start over. And then it keeps it from being messy. We're not having to run a bunch of pre-made setups all over the place for each individual thing. And also, it's so satisfying and rewarding to get these bends right and everything come out exactly like you were hoping and in the right positioning. It's so satisfying. I've really been enjoying doing the conduit routing in here, seeing the jog over to that box and then the bend to bend down and then the boxes on the wall. It feels good. I've enjoyed it. I don't know why. I like wiring across the board, apparently. Cars and shop house stuff. 51. So it's this range. Yeah, it's honestly perfect. Boom. All right, we got our power hole. Real quick, before we go back down, so look at our line set cover. When it comes down, and then the extra is coiled there, which is what they tell you to do. You're supposed to coil the extra, just like that. Boom, then our condenser. So yeah, that wiring goes up to the air handler. So it's like the controls / power up to the air handler. And what's coming out of here is going to be our power to feed this, which then also, again, goes up and feeds the air handler. So yeah, anyway, get our wire fed out here. Worst thing about climbing up on roofs is having to bring a bunch of tools with you. Alright, gotta route this over to Host's Way. Boom.
I ain't going nowhere.
That spray foam will
Come back to life.
we'll fill that with spray foam and Party on. We just need to run our wire through. We got all our dang old conduit. We got our wire pulled up through all the different boxes and routes of conduit, up and then out of our liquid tight conduit, and then we can tie it into the AC finally. So as I mentioned, basically the power feeds in here. So our main power source comes into the condenser because it's what's going to draw most of the power, and then it feeds power out up to basically the inside unit to power it, and also, you know, the signals back and forth to turn it on and off. So basically we only have to run a main power feed out here. We don't have to run another one up to the inside head unit. That's already basically there, built in with the lines and everything that come out of it. So that makes it pretty easy. You got this little cover, tighten everything up, and then it's a matter of hooking up our lines. Now these come basically pre-charged, so the lines have Freon in them already. You don't have to charge the system after you put it together. So they're kind of trick how they do this. So it's basically almost like a dry brake. It's sealed, then you tighten it down, it basically opens up like it would a dry brake on an AN line on a race car. And then we also have the secondary seal of the valves. So we open up the valves. And we've effectively got the system full of Freon and charged. So once that was done, since that was kind of our main thing we wanted to get done, it was a matter of finishing up the wiring inside and setting up the lights. So I decided to go with this track lighting for the lights on this side, so that way we can kind of move them around and aim them and point them and hopefully have enough light to light up this whole side without these main shop lights on. So Josue worked on getting the track secured and mounted while I was finishing up the boxes. We got the rest of the wire pulled through. We're going to do an outlet on the middle one, so that way we can run a cord reel up there, so we have, you know, a power source on this side of the shop, and then the lights come off the other one. All right, Josue's almost got both of our new chairs together. Chairs that are out there, you'll see they have cushions, and then they inevitably get rained on, and then they get gross. So thought it was time for some new chairs that are weatherproof, let's say. Oh man, we've been hustling, dude. I got all the wiring boxes put back together. So, you know, we got our flex, boom, box with just a cover. Do have an outlet here. I didn't end up putting an outlet in the top one because it was just tighter than I wanted it to be. That one's covered. We've got the wire going out to the outside unit. We've got up to the other outlet up there for the plugging in the cord reel, which we gotta toss up there. Anyway, moral of the story is, it's moment of truth time. Turn our breakers back on. See what happens. That was the AC beeping, I think, right? Did we take all the tape off the bottom here? I think so. All right, let's see. How do I turn it on? Oh, okay. Oh. Let's go. Don't lie to me. All right, well, I guess we'll let it run for a bit, see how cool it gets. But Josue also got the track lighting up, or the track for the track lighting. So it's got this little end piece that I've got a wire to, so I'm gonna use this. Yeah, I basically need the right thing for the knockout, which I have downstairs. And then I gotta see if the instructions tell me which way to wire it. So I can boom, boom, boom. And then this gotta tie into that box, and then it'll be on that switch, which has a dimmer. And then our cord reel is gonna go there, plug in there, and then be able to come down here so we can plug in things like the toolbox. So that's where we're at. All right, well, it's definitely a lot nicer to work up here with the AC on. I want to get my thermometer and see what the temp is over there and over here versus down there, but it feels nice up here and even over there, which added bonus, you know, when we go to get parts. Nice. So got my cord hooked up for the track lighting. Obviously, in hindsight, I could have shortened this conduit, put the box there, but we weren't sure where we were going to put the track. This just ended up being the best spot for it. So, you know, one of those things. I'm going to try to put the track lights in and see if it works. Then we can turn off the dang sun. So, of course, the worst thing after a long project is when it doesn't work. And I spent a bunch of time diagging this. I had power, I had neutral, I could not figure it out. I replaced the dimmer, and it turns out the problem was super simple. All right, well, I think I figured it out. It's I got that one working. To get this one to work, I have to squeeze the track together. I'll toss the rest of these on and see how it does. Alright, well now they all work except this one. Maybe a big zip tie will fix that. Yeah, so as you can see, without the track lights, a little bit dark up here. Just a little on the dark side. Alright, moment of truth. Oh, we just gotta get that one working because that one will shine back there. That's pretty solid though. I mean, that's pretty much what I was going for. This one could probably point a little more forward. Okay, that's a vibe. That's pretty cool. Now we got that light too. So it's like if you're up here at night, you know, want to take a stroll to the dark side. Boom. Now, shoot, we need some lights over here. Pretty dang neat. Get this area tidied up, or all of it. It's pretty nice, right? That's the first time I've seen it with the stuff put back together. Look, you can see the cars got lit up. Lights up the entryway. This is a whole freaking vibe, dude.
It's nice.
All right, well, so I have one more project we're gonna tackle up here. But, you know, the toolbox has power. We got our cord reel. Looks like we got that hung up. So you can see I have it plugged into the speaker here right now, but if I this is like, boom. We got power. Come a long way. So anyway, before it gets dark, I want to get these chairs set up outside. Now with the old and with the new. Make a matching table too, but I wanted to try these first before committing to buying the table, but I'll probably get it. Yeah, look at that mold. Gross, my fault for trying to buy chairs with cushions thinking they'd be fine outside. New setup's pretty banging. Oh yeah, that's nice. 2 minutes like you had a drink, you just set it right here. All right, well, those look good. I ordered the center table. This one's like a rectangle, so it'll fit perfect. All right, moving on right along. Still a little bland up here. And if we ever want to turn this into like a podcast corner, we need some decor. So we've got a plan for that. But first things first, the TV's kind of in the way. The idea was that you could use it up here, watch TV, or you could spin it around, drop it down some, and use it down there. The problem is it's way too high for down there, and you can't drop it down because the handrail's in the way. And it just doesn't have just quite enough rotation to go down. And up here, it's kind of not, I mean, it's usable, but it just hasn't got used. It's not a great spot. Swing and a miss on that one. So we're going to move it over here, put it up against this wall. So when this is close, got a TV, we can watch TV if we're watching a race or an FD event or whatever. We can tie it into the computer, so if like someone's playing the sim, we can broadcast that on there. I could even get Bluetooth keyboard thing and use the computer. Anyway, we got options. Moral of the story, and the TV is in our way for our wall decor, so two for one special. Get this thing out of our hair. I am pretty disappointed that the corner mounting didn't work out, because it would have been great if we could use it on the main shop floor to watch stuff while we're working down there, and then spin it around and have it up close up here. But it's just one of those things. Sometimes you got to accept when an idea you thought was great doesn't work out. I think this location on the wall will be much better, and it'll be, you know, the right spot for the hangout area, which is where we're realistically going to use it most of the time anyway. We had to adjust it a little bit, the mount, so it would stay at this height, but I don't like the gap, but oh, literally.
Right off flush.
Sweet. Yeah, right. Sweet. I'm really happy with that location. Because now, if you were sitting here, boom, TV right there. Try it out from your spot.
Chilling.
Solid. With the AC blowing on you, TV, simulator. All right, moving on. Okay, so what we're going to use for decor is pegboard. I'm a big fan of pegboard. I like pegboard, all the things. But it does give us a lot of flexibility. It's a background, and then also we can hang all sorts of stuff on it. Decorations, old broken parts. However, to mount it, we've got to basically build mounting. But we have 1x4s in cedar, which we're going to leave the raw wood. Normally, I go out of my way to make wood not look like wood, like we did with that plywood up there for the AC head unit mount. But for this environment, we're embracing the wood look. We didn't on that just because it's crappy plywood, but I got some nice wood for this. May turn out looking cool, may not. I don't know. We got 6 of these panels.
All them things.
All of them. All of them. All right. Anyway, jibber jabber. We're gonna get to work. Just like mounting the board for the head unit for the AC, we have kind of the same problems to deal with here, where you got to cut the foam out of the way because there's all these high points. So we first got the boards cut to shape. As I mentioned, this is cedar. I wanted to go with some nice wood on this. I'm normally just not a big fan of using wood in the shop. I want the shop to, I don't know, I don't like using wood in general for structural reasons, and I'm just not a wood guy. But when it comes to something decorative like this, I do really admire wood. So it's one of those things. But anyway, this first board was a little bit tricky for us to get right because it was warped. So we switched to the straightest board we had, but we still had a problem of the conduit bracket was not level. So we got it as level as we could and tried to kind of, some here, some there for the board where it wasn't going to be perfectly level, but it's not optimal. It's definitely not optimal, but hopefully it works out like we're hoping. So we just basically put the board in place so we could mark where we needed to trim the foam. Josue is the foam trimming master. So I usually let him do it because he does a good job of trimming just enough and not too much. He's got a good eye for it. And then we kind of have to pry the boards around since they're so warped, one of the reasons I don't like working with wood, and get them nice and level and square between each other, or as close to square as we could. Some of them, if the middle was where it was supposed to be, then the outsides weren't, and vice versa. So we also decided to unbolt the conduit from the bracket so we could put the pegboard behind it and then bolt the conduit to the pegboard. Originally, we were going to go, on either side, but it just looks way better to go behind it. But that also means something we didn't realize till after this was getting kind of crooked. We could take that conduit bracket off, re-level the board, and then get these more level. As we got to the fourth panel, it was just the fudging between the two not being level. It was not looking right, and it was something we definitely weren't going to be able to just ignore. So fortunately, getting rid of that bracket, 2-for-1 special, pegboard behind it, and we got to level out the board, which means we get to level out all the pegboards, which makes it look right and won't drive us absolutely crazy. So then we can put everything back together and see how it looks. You see we have a system of pegboard here. You might be asking yourself, why not one more down there? Well, that's because it's behind a shelf. You don't need pegboard behind a shelf. But we will populate the shelf with things. But as you can see, we have a lot of holes. It means we can do a lot of hooks. It means we can hang a lot of things. We were intending on finishing today, but we still have one little project we want to do, which we'll do tomorrow. All right, well, I know I'm repeating myself, but today is the first time really using the area now that we've got it finished with the AC, everything's put back together, the lighting, and Dude, oh, I can't get over it, man. It's amazing. This is what, you know, we always envisioned this being, and we haven't used it for this at all yet, because it's always warm up here, because no AC. And now with the AC, super happy with the TV location. You can see I got a street racing channel video on.
Don't see anything too crazy.
How cool is that, dude? So sick. Oh, I can't get over it, man. I cannot get over it. I was tinkering this morning. Picked up a shelf, so we're gonna get that set up so we can get that workbench out of our way for good. I've been trying to get rid of this thing forever. It's like some haunted movie. The thing just keeps appearing now, but we got the shelf, we gotta put it together. One thing I wanna do is put it on casters. So I have these parking casters, so Slade went and looked in the container. I'll find out if he found them or not. Some small casters that I had somewhere. Oh, let's see, moment of truth. No? Oh, he found them. All right, sweet. I could not remember where they were, but Jose found them in the container. So anyway, we're gonna build that shelf with casters so we can move it around, put there so we can get rid of that workbench. Thing 3, lights. So as you can see, we're running with those backlights off right now because it's just so bright up there with them on, and it's hot, and they draw like 5 amps between the pair of them. So we're gonna disconnect those, use one to replace this one. It's got the burnout middle strip, and then we're gonna try out these. These should be a lot less bright, but still bright enough to where we have work light up there. This way is gonna work on putting together our new shelf, and we're gonna keep partying on. So before we installed these, I wanted to make sure they weren't gonna be too bright, and also where we should mount them. And testing them, all signs are good. You know, we've got a good plan on where to mount them. We're going to use a pair of them, and these are going to entirely replace these big high bays that are up here. These high bays are meant for a high ceiling, which the shop did and does have, but now that the lofts are there, it's not a high ceiling. So it's the complete wrong light for how low it is compared to the floor of the loft. It's just too bright, and it doesn't even cast the light very far because, again, it's meant to cast light from, you know, a much higher height. So these lights should work better, though we do have to get a little creative. The dang spray foam, man. I love this spray foam, keeps the shop icy, but it does create some challenges, like mounting these lights to these beams that have spray foam on them. I had to build these offset aluminum brackets to stick them out some, but everything's looking good, and we're going to wire these in to the same power that was going to those high bays, so they'll basically turn on with the main shop light switch. So those will be on when we have all the shop lights on, and then if we want to turn them off to have the warm lighting up here, boom, we switch them off. So just trying to keep it simple. I thought about maybe adding another switch to turn the above loft lights off, but the idea is they won't be too bright. So had to wire this cord to this end for these lights. It's the one thing I dislike about these lights is wiring them, but using some double heat shrink, I think it's clean enough for me. All right, well, both projects took some fabricating. So I had to make some angle brackets for here for these wheels because these bottom plates, for whatever reason, it's just one bolt holding them on. I don't know why. Regardless, you would try to roll it and then it would just like flip over the one. So you had to make angle brackets to tie that plate into the back plate so that they wouldn't do that and get this thing assembled, but it's assembled and it rolls. Rocks and rolls. And then we got our lights up, which we had to make aluminum extension brackets to go around the foam, but they are up. I just swapped out that light. It's moment of truth time. See if all the work worked. Dun dun dun. Ta-da! Oh yeah, dude, that's perfect. It almost looks equally bright up there, but I know it's not. It's just.
No, it's good.
And then that one now works.
Really bright, it's like up close.
And hot. Just like, you know, if we're down here during the day and then these lights are heating this area up, then we try to, oh yeah, dude, this is money in the bank, dude. Especially with them being so high up. You gotta come up here, you gotta check it out. I mean, they can probably tell in the camera because just trying to film up here was like impossible because you just, sun.
I want to go up here. That's what I was like wanting, like this area, let's say, so you could like get some stuff done.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's like here, you want to flip those off? I'm gonna flip these off. I'll just see what it's like without any of these too. Oh yeah, I mean it's still
Like 9.5-ish.
But yeah, so I added another box. I thought about reusing that box, but then it would get tight in there. So added another box, boom, up and out. So that way also if we want to add any more lights in the future, we have that box right there to tie off of. But yeah, so now it's like shop's fully lit, just like before, especially because we got the underloft lights. And up here is like, I'm really, really happy about that. I think it also helps having them up high now. It makes it feel taller in here. Because before, all the light was down in your face. Whereas now that they're up there, you feel like the light is like, oh yeah, dude. You can easily see all the parts up here. If we're looking for something, I was just doing it in the dark, and I can tell you that wasn't great, so... Oh man, I'm stoked. All right, well, it's like I really wanted to hang those slicks. It's freaking time, dude. These projects took way longer than I thought, so.
Solid project though.
Yeah, no, real happy with the results. I guess you guys will just have to see what the other thing looks like, the decorations, because we gotta end this out. It's been a long one, so. Like I said, I still got some touch-ups to do. Like I wanna put those boards here to make this a nice border. I think that'll make that look nicer. We need to put a little piece of plywood there on that side to blend it in. We still got to decorate it. Got to put stuff on our display cabinet shelf. Still got to play the dang sim, but we got a TV up here. We got AC up here. We got lights up here of both varieties, depending on what you're in the mood for. We got,
Chill.
yeah, work or chill, literally. This is the work lighting. You can see plenty fine.
See, there's work being done here.
Oh yeah, see, Josue's working.
No, you were working.
Oh yeah. building my little plugs. You can't really see them, the light's gonna blind you, but all heat shrunk and stuff. I had to do it nice. But I'm happy with how it came out too, with the little box and the, yeah, man, whew. So again, tomorrow I'll tinker. Stuff on the shelf, get rid of the table, do my decorations. In the next video, you guys will see that stuff finish, even though we won't be working on it, we'll be working on the car, but I'll see you guys for that. But any thoughts, any closing thoughts, Josue?
Looks good. I like it.
Happy with it?
And rabbit hole? Not really. It was just a time, but it was.
I almost forget everything we've done because it's been several days, but the AC was a big one, and
Yeah, no, it's come together now.
it's a functional space that we can chill in now. Like I've actually already used it now that it works, so. Okay, all right. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think of the progress and the updates and the upgrades. I'm sure we'll come up with more short things to do, but for now, that's it. So, see you guys for the car projects. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Goodbye. Goodbye. We'll see. But anyway, I'm jibber jabbering. Not even going to include most of this, I'm sure. Editing Taylor is ruthless with the jibber jabber. He cuts out everything. So, if you saw that, you must have been in a good mood. All right.